Hello, everyone. Welcome to UChats and another Facebook Live session. Today we have, well, first of all, my name is Ronald Shannon. I'm the Health Impact Specialist here at UChats. Today we've got Dr. Helen Holton here with us. And Dr. Helen Holton actually has 21 years of service with the Baltimore City Council, and there she developed her eye for public policy and how it impacts and influences the quality of our life. Dr. Helen Holton currently right now is the executive director of NOBCO, which is the National Organization of Black County Officials. And Dr. Holton, can you tell us a little bit about NOBCO and what you do there?
Sure. NOBCO is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that's been in existence since 1982. We were founded by the National Association of Black County Officials, an affiliate of the National Association of Counties. So both our organizations are affiliated with NACO, the largest and oldest advocacy organization for local county officials, period.
Okay, great. Awesome.
And so we take on social justice issues in areas of health and healthcare, education, technology, economic development, so yeah.
Cool, great. That's awesome. Doing some great work there. We have you here today because we're talking about public health messaging and especially speaking towards engaging African American women. And so, exactly, how do you think technology has affected engaging African American women? Modern technology, how do you think that it's affected?
So it's been engaging, informative, and distracting.
Okay.
So what that looks like is that people spend an awful lot of time out there, but are they spending quality time there? And how much validity can you put in the messaging that you receive on social media? So that's why it's important to partner with organizations that have a strong reputation for doing public health work or being in that footprint, and to include, when and where you can, citations as to where your data is coming from. So if people want to question it or whatever, there is an opportunity for them to delve deeper. Though most people don't want to spend that kind of time these days.
Right.
But, there are those that look for those little citations, that little asterisk.
Yeah.
Where'd they get that from?
Yes. You definitely got those mythbusters out there that are looking to get, the accurate information. So that is very helpful to have that information on there. What are some barriers that you can think of that might be keeping us from getting messaging to African American women?
So, I do a lot of work around diversity and inclusion. And what I find is that one of the greatest challenges is cultural competency. And this is where inclusion really comes into play. If you have a team that's putting together the messaging, but you don't have members on your team that reflect the audience you're attempting to attract, that can be problematic.
Yes, I definitely can see how that can be. So given that there are many and multiple platforms that we got, Facebook, Instagram, everything else, do you find one more, your go-to or more effective than any other?
Well, it's interesting because many of them are continuing to evolve into something beyond what they started out. I mean, when Facebook started out, there was no Facebook Live.
Right.
There was no Hootsuite. Zoom. Right. It used to only be Skype.
Yes.
So, you have more and more players coming into the tech field of how to communicate information live, real time, as close to, used to be my bell. They used to say it's the next best thing to being there, but you're probably not old enough to remember that. So it's a matter of personal preference. I think one of the things that you don't get a lot of information around, I haven't looked lately, is like LinkedIn, which is seen to be more of a business networking, if you're looking for a job or looking to promote a job you're doing, a platform. But it doesn't mean that that's not a viable platform to do that. So it depends. I think it boils down to, number one, understanding who your target audience is and where do they hang out in social media.
That makes sense. And speaking of other gadgets and modern technology. So at home, I started out with Alexa, but she got a little creepy. So I went and got a Google Home. So what do you think? Do you think that there's any room for collaboration between gadgets like Alexa and Google Chrome, Google Home, things like that?
Interesting. Google is probably the entity that has been tracking people's patterns longer than any of them, kind of running in the background to do that.
Yeah.
I think that there probably is a way to get good messaging out, or reminders, doctor's appointments. And I think the technology is moving in that direction to, you can have Alexa or Google track your grocery list, or, so I think it's just a matter of time. But I think when we talk about public health, and for NOBCO, we really drill down to not just public health globally, but the impact of HIV in the African American community, which has some staggering statistics.
Yeah.
And what that says to me is that we're not talking enough about it in our community. And so finding the right portals of technology where you can capture someone to, number one, get them to even look at the information.
Right.
Number two, how do you get someone to share the information you're giving? And, I learned early in life, repetition is the motherhood of all learning. Yeah. And so you have to continue to repeat the messaging. So we're coming up on National HIV Black AIDS Awareness Day. Great opportunity to get some public health information out there about an epidemic that is not decreasing in our community in a way that should be.
That is true. Thank you for that. And speaking of when your organization side-wise and professionals in public health, do you think that it's good practice to have one person particularly focused on social media messaging, or should that be like a group? How do you think?
Can I say it in a word?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think having them be proficient in multiple platforms of social media, posting things out and what makes them resonate higher, your search engine optimization, all of these things are important. I mean, a year ago, I didn't know what an SEO was or why it was important to know. Right. Or a couple years ago. I know a little more, but it's like, no, let's just have someone else who really has passion for that area, because it is growing.
Right. Yes. What are some other best practices that you can share with us as far as getting our messaging out there, especially geared toward African American women?
Cultural competency, cultural relevancy, understanding the patterns or times when your target market is on social media. Right. I usually, early in the morning, I find that there are a lot of people who are either checking from the day before or the current day, or just trying to see what's happened since I went to bed.
Right.
Surprisingly enough, there's times that I'm on there midday and I'm like, look at all these people out here. They should be working, so.
Right.
But what that speaks to is a society where people are live and engaged around the clock. We just don't know, until you really research and study the patterns of when people are showing up, and how does that align with your target audience.
Right. What are some steps as a public health professional that you can take to kind of?
So let me say.
Okay.
I'm not really a public health professional.
Okay.
So just for your listening audience.
Right.
No, I have not deeply studied public health, but I have over the years become what I would call my own personal health advocate. Okay. Understanding that everything a doctor says is not necessarily gospel. Okay. And people should have multiple avenues to pursue. Right. I think one of the things that really I find alarming is that there's not enough talk about prevention. There was a time when if someone said HIV, it was like, oh yeah, they're dying. That's not the case anymore. Right. I think there are a lot of opportunities in sharing information, especially around prevention, that's going to be key for the African American community and what we do to bring down the numbers that we're posting up.
Thank you. So as a Black woman, what is it that you can tell us what do Black women need to hear in public health? I know that can be a lot.
Interestingly enough, I think that helping Black women find their voice, to have what I would call, and I'm going to term it this way, courageous conversations about how they're living. Okay. And so NOBCO has partnered with a film, 90 Days, which is a wonderful tool that presents the whole from beginning to treatment of HIV. So it talks about status, it talks about protection, it talks about treatment, testing. It covers all of these things in a way that is upbeat. You know, it's a film short.
Okay.
So it's engaging. It's not long, so it certainly fits the criteria of today's viewing audience.
Right.
You know, short and quick. Short and quick. It's as the filmmakers would call it, advocacy and activism through storytelling. And what we endeavor to do is through a wonderful love story, talk about HIV in the African American community. Wow. Jussie Smollett from Empire is the executive producer of the film, one of the executive producers, and Tiana Paris from Chirac and Survivor's Remorse is in the film. Pauletta Washington, Denzel's wife, is in the film. So it's you know, it's a cast and an up and coming Nick Few, who I think we'll see on the big silver screen sooner than later.
Great.
But so yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much, Dr. Holton, for allowing me to pick your brain.
and please follow and like us on social
definitely.
media. Isn't that what we're talking about?
Yes, we are.
I spend a lot of time with the staff that make sure we have it.
Right.
You know, and I'm linked up to it. I just don't have time to go there often, but I certainly can share it with others. And you can find us at NOBCO. N-O-B as in boy, C as in Charlie, O.org. That's our website. Our Facebook page is NOBCO 1982.
Okay.
Yeah, you can find it. Well, if you go to our website, you can connect with all our social media.
Right. And
how about that?
The wonderful thing is, like we talked earlier about Google, is it's just a quick search away, right? You can always find it.
It's a quick search away. But go to our website. I do know we have all the links, and that way you could one-stop shopping. You can go there and get to us all over social media. And get all the information, and also connect with Dr. Helen Holton. Thank you so much again for, like I said, allow me to pick your brain and get this information that we needed for our users and everything. We really appreciate you taking the time out to join us here today at UCHAPS. I just want to give you guys a little bit of reminders. Next week, join me for speaking with Center for Black Equity, Earl Folks. I'll be talking with him about engaging LGBTQ community, the Black LGBTQ community. After that, I have Jonathan Likes on the 20th. I'll be speaking about engaging African American youth. On Wednesday, the 27th, I'm sorry, I'm still in December. Oh, in the holidays.
Right. I'm sorry, Wednesday of the 27th, we have a webinar also with Dr. Helen Holton and Earl Folks, and we'll be speaking on engaging public health officials. And UCHAPS is actually having a class or a seminar on next Tuesday on public health messaging. You can sign up for all of that on our website, www.uchaps.org. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are everywhere. We appreciate you guys again one time for coming in. Thank you again for Dr. Helen Holton, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday for our next UCHAPS Facebook Live. See you guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Likewise.